But we've never seen anything like Putin's tax on both food and gas.
Good morning, everybody. I am coming to you from Thessaloniki, Greece. I am sitting here in front of the White Tower, the Lefko Pyrgo, and this is one of the most famous landmarks for this beautiful city of Thessaloniki, Greece. Right in front of me, let me pan right here, is the waterfront. You can see the ships out in the distance. And right in back of me is the White Tower, Lefko Pyrgo. Over there was the statue of Alexander the Great, where I did a video from yesterday. And we have got to talk about the opening segment, the short video clip that I played in the intro, where Biden is now talking about the Putin tax. The Putin tax now. So America, you are undergoing a Putin tax. You had a Putin price hike. Now you have a Putin tax. You had Putin election meddling. You had Putin's control of Trump. You had Putin's control of social media and the spreading of fake news. Putin is one powerful guy. I mean, he controls everything in the United States. He controls a country that is located thousands and thousands of miles away. But when it comes to the military conflict in Ukraine, a country that is just a couple of miles away from the Russian. Oh yeah, I don't need a watch. Invictus, I don't need it, man. Oh, fragrances, nah, I'm okay.
I've gotten this for you. Don't worry, be happy, my friend. Hugo Boss.
That's a Hugo Boss. That's
Yes.
the best.
Look
Oh,
how
man.
much you can
How
price
much?
it.
How much is it?
Give me 50 euro.
No, I've got a good watch.
Don't have 50.
I don't have
how
50.
Much, chef?
I don't
Really?
have. I've got like maybe €5.
5 euro, my
Yeah,
friend.
that's
This-
it. I'm a
5
poor
is
guy.
different.
Look at me. I've got a camera and I'm making
You have
videos.
camera, but you
Oh,
are,
I've got a, yeah,
you have
that's,
two phones, my
that's all.
friend.
That's all I've got.
Look
that's
how
all
much
I've
chef
got.
in shop. In shop. How much chef in price the shop?
175
yes,
euros.
in shop. It's Hugo Boss. It's very good horse, my friend.
I believe you.
Give me
I
more
believe
little
you.
price.
I don't
give
have,
you.
honestly, I don't have. I wish I did. If I did, I would grab that
I
watch, but I
got
just
this
don't
for
have.
you. Look, Swarovski, all the set.
Swarovski.
All the set.
Well, you know, I don't have anyone to give that to.
100 euros. Watch and Swarovski.
I'm
two
all
sets.
alone.
Oh, you're alone?
Yeah, I don't have a
Look.
girlfriend or anything. I'm
Don't
alone,
worry,
man.
be happy. I give you this Paco Rabanne Invictus. Smell 1 liter. No worry, no
Thank you.
criminal. Smell.
It smells good. It smells
20
good.
20 euro, keep it.
I don't. I told you, I've got €5.
Only 5 euro.
That's all I got.
Keep it. Keep it.
Look, when I finish my
No.
video, I'll grab that for
Okay.
€5 because I just
Okay.
here. Wait, one sec. Let me see if I can.
€1 my pocket, I don't have.
There you go, €5. One sec. Let me
Don't
turn.
worry,
Let me turn this
don't
off.
worry.
I apologize for that distraction right there, but €5 in Greece gets you an Invictus perfume cologne in Greece. I don't know if it's real or not, but you know, whatever. He was a good salesman. So let's get back to the video. Let's get back to the news. And so yeah, Putin is he controls the United States from thousands and thousands of miles away, from inflation to taxes to former presidents and elections. Putin controls all of the U.S. But when it comes to Russia, and when it comes to, say, I don't know, a special military operation, just a dozen miles away from Moscow, Putin is a complete mess. The military is unprofessional. They're losing to a clown puppet actor known as Zelensky. They're committing all kinds of atrocities, and they're just getting demolished by a smaller and weaker country in the form of Ukraine. And the Russian economy, well, you know, 2 months ago we were talking about the ruble turning to rubble. That is what Biden said during a State of the Union speech. And the Russian economy is the size of Cyprus or Greece or Idaho or Delaware. Pick your country or state. And 50 Russian generals are getting killed a day in Ukraine. And Shoigu has had like 3-4 heart attacks. Putin himself is he's suffering from Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and a bum elbow and cancer and heart troubles and the itchy scratchies. Anyway, I think you guys get my gist here. It's incredible. We now have a Putin tax. We now have a Putin tax. And so let's let's talk about some serious stuff here, and let's talk about some facts as to what's really happening, because it is not a Putin tax that is crushing the U.S. economy. It is the policies of one Joe Biden and the Biden White House. So U.S. inflation has hit, I believe it was 8.6%. Are the numbers that have come out for May. Yep, 8.6%. The annual inflation rate rose to 8.6% in May, according to the Labor Department. And the U.S. Central Bank has been raising interest rates since March, i.e. the Fed. But it is not helping. Food prices were up more than 10%. And when they mean increasing the interest rates, I mean, they're like just barely increasing the interest rates, about like 0.5%. Which is not going to do anything to tackle inflation. So let's see, the Fed, they've been raising interest rates since March. Food prices were up more than 10% last month compared to May 2021, while energy surged more than 34%. Friday's report showed the increases continue to spread throughout the economy, pushing the cost of everything from airline tickets and clothing to medical services higher. So much for the idea that inflation has peaked. Consumer prices blew past expectations, not in a good way, with the 8.6 annual increase, the fastest in more than 40 years, said Greg McBride, chief financial analyst at Bankrate.com. Worse, the increases were nearly ubiquitous, just no place to hide. Not looking good. It is not looking good for the Biden White House, but you know, hey, it's this is the Putin price hike and now the Putin tax that is causing all of this. In Greece, prices are increasing. Greece inflation has hit a 30-year high. It surged to 11.3% year on year in May from 10.2% recorded in the previous month. This is according to Hellenic statistical authorities. I see it here every day. Prices are going up a couple of cents here, a couple of cents there, and it's going up across the board, from coffee to petrol to food to spinach pies, you name it. Everything is increasing. It seems like on a daily basis. And plane tickets, there is no place to hide. This is across the board. The UK had record gas prices, the biggest daily surge in 17 years. UK gasoline prices continue to set records, with daily price jumps between Monday and Tuesday at the highest in 17 years. RAC, the UK's longest serving motoring organization, says gasoline prices were at a record high of $2.27 or 181 pounds per liter, or around $8.60 per US gallon on Tuesday, according to data from RAC Fuel Watch, which expects prices to continue rising in the near term. Let's keep on going. Let's keep on going. According to an EU analyst at a think tank, the think tank in Brussels called Bruegel, good times are over for Europeans. The cost of living crisis is expected to worsen across Europe, marked by increased food, fuel, and electricity prices, according to Maria Dermetsis, the deputy director at Brussels-based think tank Bruegel. She told Euronews on Thursday that the abnormal inflation is a result of skyrocketing energy prices, which is affecting Europe a lot more than it has affected the US, because we depend on Russia a lot more than others do. Asked whether Europeans should brace themselves for higher costs, Dermetsis said, "I think yes. I think we certainly are going to have another year of this in terms of inflation being abnormal. We have seen here in Belgium, where I live, an increase in the price of flour, a doubling of flour costs, which of course has got implications for the price of bread, which is quite important. We feel it in our pocket when we will fuel our cars, when we buy our weekly food. And I dare say that things probably need to get a little bit worse before they get better. So in that respect, I think we will really need to brace ourselves for a little bit more of this. So let's take a walk and let's talk. And let me make sure I've got my wallet and my newly purchased cologne or perfume. And how are things going in Russia? Let's talk about what the economic situation is in Russia. And I took a look at the ruble today, and it's sitting firm at around 58. So one USD is around 58 rubles. And I still believe that's a little too strong for the Russian government. I believe they would like the ruble to be at around, say, 70 plus or minus. I think that would be their sweet spot for imports and for exports. So I still think that the ruble is a bit too strong for the Russian government and the Russian central bank, but they'll work on it, because we have the report coming just yesterday, and I was watching this on Earl Grey's YouTube channel, and when he said that Nabulina and the central bank have lowered the interest rate to 9.5%, I said, really? And so I jumped on the internet, did a quick search, and sure enough, Reuters does confirm that Russia has chopped the key interest rate to pre-crisis levels of 9.5%. By the way, we are working on getting Earl Grey on the Duran for a live stream. That'll probably happen hopefully next week, but keep your eye out for that. But let's get back to the story from Reuters. Russia's central bank cut its key interest rate to pre-crisis levels of 9.5% on Friday and kept the door open to further easing as inflation slowed, while noting uncertainty related to external risks such as the Western embargo on Russian oil. Russia has been cutting rates since an emergency hike to 20% in the immediate aftermath of Moscow's dispatch of armed forces into Ukraine on February 24th and the unprecedented Western sanctions that followed. Friday's rate cut of 150 basis points exceeded the average expectation of 100 BP move in a Reuters poll earlier this week, after 3 rounds of 300 BP cuts, the most recent of which was just 2 weeks ago. Governor Elvira Nabulina said the board considered a wide range of rate options on Friday, but the main discussion was whether to cut 10% to 10% or to 9.5%. Quote, inflation is slowing down, including under the influence of the ruble strengthening and lower inflation expectations. Lower inflation expectations. That gave us the opportunity to reduce the key rate again today, Nabulina told a media conference. So the Russian economy seems to be doing okay. I don't want to say it's fantastic or they're on the road to a recovery or everything is roses, but there's daylight, which is more than I can say for what's happening in the United States and the collective West. Must be those Putin price hikes and that Putin tax. Boy, that Putin, he is really something. So this is the White Tower right here, and we'll just do a circle around it, so I don't know if everyone can see it. It's actually a museum as well, and this dates back to the Venetian, Ottoman times, and this has actually been redone. This is not, I believe this is not the original, which dates back to, I believe, like 1186, I want to say, or 87, but I could be a little off on my dates. I'm not good with dates. But it's fantastic, and it is the symbol of Thessaloniki. It's really a beautiful structure, and it just sits on the harbor, and it's fantastic. It really is a beautiful area. So that's the news coming out of Russia. And Putin is laughing at all of this because he's laughing at the fact that the collective West, they continue, they haven't just, they continue to shoot themselves in the foot, in all feet. However many feet they may have, they just continue to shoot and shoot and shoot. And Putin was you actually have the St. Petersburg Forum coming up, which is a big forum, like a big business international conference forum, and that's coming up. And Putin was actually giving a speech. He was holding like a kind of conference for young entrepreneurs in Moscow a day ahead of the forum. And he's laughing, and he really is laughing. That's not an exaggeration. So Putin said that Western attempts, as he was speaking to these entrepreneurs, he said that Western attempts to isolate and punish Russia have backfired on their creators. Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Thursday, speaking to a group of young entrepreneurs in Moscow, he pointed out the economic consequences of anti-Russian sanctions on the countries that impose them. If someone tries to contain us in some regard, they ultimately contain themselves, Putin told a group of young entrepreneurs, engineers, and scientists in Moscow ahead of the St. Petersburg International Forum. For example, they limit the exportation of our fertilizers and their prices go up far more than here. They try to limit our energy exports and their prices go sky high. They even try using my name to label their inflation. But the reality is we have absolutely nothing to do with it, he said, to laughter from the audience. So people were actually laughing at the moves being made by the collective West. This is solely the result of the huge mistakes they themselves made, Vladimir Putin added, and now they're trying to, forgive me ladies, cover up a certain spot by blaming everything on Russia. Oh my God. Does the collective West have the worst set of leaders in all of history? I mean, the worst, absolute worst set of leaders. Completely incompetent. One leader that is good, though, that I believe is good, some people may disagree, is Viktor Orban. And Viktor Orban came out with a statement that as he was giving an interview to, let me see here, I believe to a radio station in Hungary. Let me find the article. Yes, an interview with the Kossuth radio station. Orban said that only peace would curb inflation and save the economy from further shocks, but admitted that Ukraine had the right to defend itself. He also said that Hungary was now virtually the only country that wanted peace. Indeed, Budapest, unlike most other European capitals, has refused to send weapons to Ukraine. Quote, "We need to fund peace, not war," Orban said. However, Orban did emphasize that there were people who were interested in prolonging the conflict. Quote, "It is now quite obvious that there are business circles that are interested in this war. George Soros symbolizes them. He speaks openly about the need to prolong the war. These are instigators of war who want to cash in on the war," Orban said, adding that such instigators should be held responsible. Absolutely. There is no doubt that Soros wants to prolong this war and he wants to destroy Russia because Soros figured something out many, many years ago, that there is much more money in NGOs and these types of open society universities than there ever was in financial markets and rigging the financial markets and speculating on currency, which was how Soros made his first billions. And then he figured it out, much like Gates, much like Bill Gates. Both of these guys, they figured out that there is so much more money in NGOs and nonprofits and foundations than there ever would be in trying to run software businesses or financial businesses. And that is why Soros, he is scared to death of Russia, he's scared to death of Putin, he's scared to death of Orban. And he wants the war to continue because in these countries and in these areas, he makes a killing from running these regime change, open society NGOs and open society universities. And he knows that leaders like Putin and Orban, they want to shut all this stuff down. And so before I get to my clown world, which has to do with Ukraine, let's talk about one more story. And it does have to do with Biden, and it does have to do with oil and the economy. Viele Saligo, in a little bit. In a little bit, my friend.
I make a special offer.
Okay, I gave you all my money. That's all I have.
50 euro, no more.
That's all I have. I
give
got
you all.
I got the perfume.
I give you all for 50 euro, really. You help me, you are a good man.
So the Biden White House, they're talking up Biden's trip to Saudi Arabia, and they're making excuses for Biden because remember, it was Biden that he called Saudi Arabia a pariah state, and he called MBS many, many bad words. Actually, let's go this way and go around so you can get a better look at the White Tower, and you can see the party boat is leaving soon as well. And so the White House is now saying, and this is according to a CNN article, they are, and this is coming from, let me read you the paragraph from Zero Hedge and then read you the quote from CNN. So CNN is telling us, this is Zero Hedge, CNN tells us in one of the more curious, gratuitous lines in its report, in their article where they're talking about Biden going to Saudi Arabia and they're making excuses for Biden's trip to Saudi Arabia, that Biden has set aside his moral outrage, apparently in order to go after the bigger bad guy of the moment, which is Putin. Quote from CNN, but officials say Biden, who is under immense pressure to crack down on Russia and lower domestic gas prices amid inflation that's rising at the fastest pace since 1981, has set aside his moral outrage to pursue warmer relations with the kingdom amid the dramatic global upheaval spurred by the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine. Though it should be noted that the U.S. weapons shipment and close Pentagon help executing the Saudi coalition war on Yemen never ceased, Biden is moving on in hopes the Saudis will finally accede to his longtime demands that the kingdom pump more oil. MBS, and they have a picture of MBS. I'll put on the screen a photo of MBS, just a smile from here to here, because the Biden White House is about to go to Saudi Arabia and grovel at the feet of MBS, a man they were calling a killer because of the whole Khashoggi incident. They were calling a killer and a murderer and all of these things, a pariah. Now the Biden White House is going to put aside their moral outrage, and they're going to go to MBS and grovel to MBS to please get more oil out there. We need your help. So this is after they've groveled at Venezuela and after they've gone groveling at Iran as well. So, and then they seize Iranian ships full of oil. So yeah, it's just a bad situation all around for the Biden White House. They're all twisted up in a pretzel with their sanctions, shock and awe policy, and their misjudged and completely failed efforts to try and get regime change in Russia. It's backfired in a way that I don't think they could have ever possibly imagined. So let's get to our clown world. And this clown world is kind of like a two-parter. It's like a two-part clown world, though it's all connected. So you remember the stories that I've reported on with regards to Lyudmila Denisova, who was like the human rights representative for Ukraine. And she was feeding fake stories of Russian military atrocities, feeding them to NGOs and to media outlets. And as time went on, the stories got crazier and crazier until the NGOs and the media outlets, they said, look, this is even beyond the fiction that we could come up with. And they started to question her stories and the truth of those stories. And eventually she got called out for lying. She got exposed for her lies. They were all made up. All those stories about Russian military atrocities in Ukraine were made up. And the Ukrainian parliament had to fire her because they didn't fire her because she was lying. They fired her because her lies were just too over the top. They were just too ridiculous. And she got exposed for it. Anyway, she has now given an interview to a Ukrainian website, I believe. Yes, she gave an interview to a Ukrainian news outlet where Denisova, the top Ukrainian official who was fired for spreading misinformation, admitted that she lied about Russians committing mass RAPE in order to convince Western countries to send more weapons to Ukraine. And I quote, "When, for example, I spoke to the Italian Parliament at the Committee on International Affairs, I heard and saw such fatigue from Ukraine. You know, I talked about terrible things in order to somehow push them to make the decisions that Ukraine and the Ukrainian people need," Denisova said. She also noted that Italy's five-star movement was originally against the provision of weapons to us, but after her speech, one of the party leaders said that they will support us, including by the provision of weapons. So her lies actually duped, they fooled the five-star movement in Italy to actually support weapons to Ukraine. So her lies, though they were crazy and ridiculous and hysterical, were so over the top that you had to be absolutely brain dead to believe them, actually fooled the five-star movement and fooled a lot more of our leaders in Europe, to the point where they actually went along with all the crazy sanctions and the sending of weapons to Ukraine. And now they can't backtrack. They can't go back on what they've done. And the only way forward is for them to continue to escalate until they find some sort of off-ramp excuse. And now they're scrambling to find a way to get out of this mess that they've put themselves into. A mess which was created by people like Denisova and her lies. So that leads to the next part of this clown world, which has to do with a Reuters photo and the fact that Reuters, no matter how hard it tries to cover up there are no NAZIs in Ukraine lie, they just simply can't do it, to the point where when they take photos of just everyday people, in this instance taking a photo on the outskirts of Kharkov, of an everyday person in Kharkov, they managed to snap pics with NAZI tattoos. And in this case, a Reuters photographer was taking pictures of a Kharkov citizen who was checking out like a destroyed van that was in his, I guess in his neighborhood. And they took the photo and they put it in an article with a photo gallery. But when you take a look at the photo, you can see that on his arm, right around his arm, he has a very large NAZI tattoo. And it looks like Reuters didn't spot that NAZI tattoo. And they went ahead and they published the photo. But luckily, the Russian embassy in Vienna, the Russian mission in Vienna, they did spot the tattoo. And they tweeted at Reuters saying, "We fixed your oopsie, Reuters. In case you forgot, an NAZI is an NAZI is an NAZI." And that is what they tweeted. They said, "No NAZIs in Ukraine. We fixed your oopsie, Reuters. Another propaganda stunt to slander Russia. In case you forgot, an NAZI is an NAZI is an NAZI. Thus, all mission goals of the special military operation in Ukraine will be accomplished." And so, yeah. So they posted an article to show once again, the atrocities of Russia and all the bad that they're doing. And they get a photo of a Kharkov man, a citizen, looking into a destroyed white van. And they just kind of overlook the fact that he has a massive NAZI tattoo around his arm. So yeah, oopsie. Oopsie is one way to call it. So anyway, that is the clown world, and I am coming to you from the White Tower in Lefkopirgo in Thessaloniki, Greece, a beautiful area. I would take you closer to the boats, but they're playing music, and well, if that music gets in this video, then I'm gonna have to take it down and all kinds of craziness. But It's a nice Saturday morning, and a lot of people are now starting to wake up and come out and enjoy the day. It's a little bit cloudy, but still, it's a good day here in Thessaloniki, Greece. Coming to you from the White Tower. Take care, everybody.